28.
28.
28 piccolos.
30.
30 clarinets.
31.
31.
31 trumpets.
22.
22.
22 mellophones.
11 baritones.
23.
23. 23 alto saxes. 12.
12 tenor saxes.
27.
27 drummers.
2 majorettes.
11 trombones.
4.
4.
4 drum majors.
13. 13 tubas.
16. 16. 16 color guard. This
This.
is the pride of the ACC.
Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Pride of the ACC. My name is Adam Pohl, joined again by the head of University Bands in Jeff Fuchs. And we had some football this week, Jeff, as the Tar Heels are looking, I mean, they look ready to go. That defense is outstanding. And, one of the interesting things was watching that game and hearing the band, but knowing that the band wasn't there.
Yeah, I tell you, Adam, it was a really bizarre day, Saturday, sitting in my chair at the house, watching a game and hearing the band play. And I caught myself several times startled a little bit thinking, oh my God, I should be at the game. And I tell you, Neil Franzer, who is the producer of all the game now, he's the only one in the box and he's running all the music. He did a great job and he used the band in the right ways and at the right time. And I'm glad that we're still part of the games, even though we're not in the stands.
So I wanted to ask you about that. So did the athletic department reach out to you about what to play where? Obviously, it seemed like Neil there knew exactly what to do and where, and how many different band tidbits does he have ready to go?
Yeah, well, I'm in the box during all the games now, so I'm up with Neil and the other people. So we're sharing the responsibility of providing live music. So he's got a pretty good feel of what we normally do, and I sent him over a CD of several of the cheers and all of the school songs, and I also got some clips out of. We often record the crowd during the game. For our own purposes, we record what the band's doing, how the crowd's reacting, so we can gauge what's working and what's not. And we put all those clips together and sent them. Of course, they had a lot of stuff on their own. So I would say I probably sent him 25 clips, audio. And we talked a little bit, but a large part, Neil's done the games for a couple of years now, so he has a good feel and he was able to draw from all those resources to create the soundtrack to make it sound like we were there.
I mean, one of the things about Carolina is just how many fight songs are played. I mean, if you watch an Oklahoma Sooners football game, the band plays the same, Boomer Sooners song 800 times. But I mean, I was hearing everything on Saturday, including I Zigga Zumba. I mean, they were playing it all.
Yeah, he did a great job of mixing it up, and yeah, we do. With the 5 different fight songs that we have, it creates for a lot of opportunity for variety. But at the same time, the tag has its place.
Yes.
And there are places in the game we've designed it over the years that my goal is if you're on the concourse or even down at the golf course where you can hear the band play, I want you to know what's going on in the game based on what you're hearing. That if you're on the concourse and you hear number 12, the thing we do for third down, I want you to know it's third down. And then based on what you hear after that, you either know we stopped them or you didn't stop them. When you hear tag once, we scored a touchdown. If you hear it twice, we got a field goal. If you only hear it without the once, then we kicked a field goal. We didn't score a touchdown first. So we program what we do to kind of tell the story, even if you're not in visual sight lines of the game.
And maybe celebrating Carolina and how we as students and alumni love the school. I mean, we can't just have an alma mater and then walk away, right? I mean, it's got to be the only school, right, where you play the alma mater and then you have the fight song that everyone knows and loves. We call it tag, of course, that is hooked onto the end of it. Usually that's not the case.
Yeah, usually it's a very solemn ends that way, but the beginning, the Carolina alma mater had I'm a Tar Heel born, I'm a Tar Heel bred, and when I die, I'm a Tar Heel dead. So rah, rah, Carolina, rah, rah, Carolina, rah, rah, Carolina. And then you can finish it as
Well, it was interesting, of course, for our students here with the Marching Tar Heels because they were unable to be, of course, participating as usual, even though their sounds were heard. But the alumni, we talked a little bit last week in our show with Samantha DeColi about the alumni helping and stepping up and supporting the Marching Tar Heels. And we saw an example of that just last week.
Oh, they stepped up big time. They started a couple weeks ago selling these cutouts for fans in the stadium. And my wife, Karen, had been on me to do that for the band or to make it available. And, they were $50 a pop to do it. And, finally, after listening to her, and it's like, you're right, we need to do it. And so I got the idea to do it for our 60 seniors. And so I got all their pictures together. And of course, that meant we needed $3,000. And so I put out the call on Friday evening, asking the alums to help us with that. And Adam, in less than 11 hours, we had over $3,700 collected.
Incredible.
Project. And two of the alumni stepped forward, offered to pay for the whole thing if we didn't get enough. It was just overwhelming, the support. And now we have our 60 band alums along with 14 cheer alums that they did the same thing. They're right there in the stadium. They'll be there all year. And at the end of the season, those kids can have their cutouts to take them with them. So it was really great for our alums to step up and make that possible for our seniors this year, that they'll be there for every game. At least their likeness will be there.
And I'm telling you, their likenesses are going to see some pretty good football this year. I mean, this looks like a Mac Brown team that is as good of a Carolina football team as we've had in a long, long time.
Yeah, I even called my friends over there on Thursday just to see if there's any possible way I could slip in somewhere. And I said, before you hire anybody, I'll come volunteer. I'll clean the toilets. I'll do whatever.
I love it. Well, one part of the band that's actually playing this year, of course, we've talked about it many a time, is our Drumline. And Nate Campbell, who actually teaches at Campbell, how about that? Nate Campbell has been a part of the Marching Tar Heels in instructing the Drumline here now for 7 or 8 years.
Yeah, Nate, when Matt Savage decided to move on, it was pretty late in the summer that Matt called me and told me that things had finally worked out with what he wanted to do. And so I met with Nate, and he came on board. And he had worked with a good friend of mine in Tony Falcone at Nebraska. And Tony gave him a great recommendation, and we hired him right away, almost sight unseen. I had one lunch with him, and I could tell from talking to him that he was going to fit really well. And we brought him on board, and he's just done a fabulous job with our Drumline. And the kids respond well to his teaching, and he understands our system and what it's all about here at Carolina. So we're thrilled to have Nate as part of our team.
My name is Nate Campbell. I am the drumline instructor at the University of North Carolina, and I've been with Marching Tar Heels since 2013, so this will be my 8th year. This year we were told basically right before camp that the winds would not be allowed to play their instruments. So the Drumline kind of headed up the, I guess is from a playing perspective, headed up the entire band camp. And the entire time we were still learning our cadences, and again, still, I guess at the same time, building relationships like the rest of the band. Drumline now is continuing to do virtual sessions, and I'm doing all that from my studio at home, and all the other students are doing that from there, wherever they are, in their apartments or dorms or at their houses, and that's actually going pretty well. I have a lot of the leadership heading up a lot of the sessions in breakout rooms, and I obviously head up a lot of the stuff as well, but that we're continuing to learn school songs, new cadences, working on technique, and just building our hands like we would during the normal school year. I was at the University of Nebraska. I started my undergrad in 1997, and we won the national championship that year. And then I continued teaching there for 7 years. And then I moved out to North Carolina. My wife had a great job opportunity, and her family all lives here. So we moved out here, and I became good friends with Matt Savage and worked with him at the Matt Savage drum camp that he runs every summer. And in 2013, he decided to just pursue other things. And he told me about the opening that he was no longer going to be with North Carolina. And Jeff Fuchs contacted me, and I had a meeting with Jeff. And I immediately, I think the following week, I was in and working with North Carolina. The coolest thing that I think that kind of struck me from the very beginning was the pit performance. And the Drumline puts on a really cool show. I believe Matt Savage wrote a lot of the cadences, and they have stuck around. They're kind of stapled and ingrained in the North Carolina tradition. And then also what the band does at the library is really cool to watch. Hundreds of fans and the band hype right before the march down to the stadium. So probably the pit performance and the library performance are just really exciting things to watch. You know, everybody comes in during the first night during auditions, and even the I guess veteran members, they're just a little bit, not as comfortable with each other as when they last left. But then after the first couple of days, then you notice everybody starts gelling a little bit more. It's really awesome to see their time throughout every year, and then throughout the course of their career at North Carolina, to the friendships they develop and how close they come to each other, and when they come back after they graduate, seeing how the alums have a connection to people they don't even know. A lot of times they'll come back to the pit and see the pit performance, and they just have this kind of special bond right away. It's really, really cool to see.
Welcome back here to the Pride of the ACC. A great conversation there with the Drumline instructor, Nate Campbell. I guess it's the different end of the equation what we're going to look at now, from a bass drum all the way to the top of the scale, right, Jeff, with the Piccolos. We're going to feature our Piccolo section, and they're a unique group, including one of their traditions. Every section has traditions. I was a trumpet player. A lot of the things that we did around Tar Heel Town are still done to this day before Carolina football games. But we didn't have as tasty of a treat as what the Piccolos do at halftime. I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, the Piccolo candy has been a tradition since I've been here. After halftime, they usually share a pixie stick together. We'll see them up there toasting it together, and I always find it comical because the candy they share is almost the same size as the instrument they play. That's an important part of our group, and we have them all. Lots of people give us trouble about having so many piccolos because they are hard to play in tune and all that. But I tell you, with with the number we have and with the piccolos instead of the flute, we actually do hear them, and they add a nice layer on top of the trumpet sound, another octave above that to give it a little cut. And but they add a lot to the band and a lot of personality, and we sure enjoy having them around, and I think you all will enjoy meeting them this evening.
Yeah, you know, when you're talking about the piccolos, you got to have some, you got to be tough, got to have some confidence to play the melody, right? And that's what they're doing in most songs. And I know some of that leadership is shown. In fact, the piccolo, one or two of the students in the piccolo section really helped get this Minecraft thing up going that we talked about a week or two ago.
Yeah, Lauren Mobley, one of the section captains, was it was her brainchild to do the Minecraft server, and she, along with a couple other students in the band, built the thing out, and we have lots of people still playing it and enjoying it. So yeah, they're multi-talented for sure.
Hi, I'm Allison Berger, a senior from Charlotte, North Carolina, majoring in communications and contemporary European studies with a minor in information systems, and I'm one of the Piccolo section captains.
Hey guys, I'm Rayleigh Pitts. I am from Glen Alpine, North Carolina. I'm majoring in business and political science with a minor in music, and I am also a Piccolo section captain.
Hey y'all, my name is Lauren Mobley. I'm a senior from Atlanta, Georgia. I am majoring in biology and minoring in Spanish for the medical professions and chemistry. I am the third and final section captain for the Piccolo section.
This year we have 10 seniors in the piccolo and flute section. While this year was cut short, all of our seniors have left lasting impacts on the section. In our section as a whole, we have 10 seniors, 4 juniors, 7 sophomores, and 7 first years for a total of 28 piccolos.
With majors from biology and neuroscience to business, history, or linguistics, our section is filled with people who have many different passions but unite around our shared love of the marching Tar Heels.
Our section includes members involved with numerous campus organizations such as Carolina Jump Rope, Pauper Players, Company Carolina, Habitat for Humanity, and UNC Saga.
Though there have been many changes this year, some section-wide traditions we love to do are Picks at 6 and Pick Olympics. Picks at 6 allows all members of our section to hang out, grab a bite to eat, and catch up on the activities that happened since the last band rehearsal. We hope to do similar virtual events this year.
Another event that happens during band camp every season is the Pick Olympics. As the name implies, we traditionally create teams led by the senior members of our section and play a series of fun, wacky games, eventually donning the winning team with handmade sashes. This year, we moved the Pick Olympics to Kahoot and played with questions that were about each member. Congratulations, Ashley, on winning.
If you want to tell who the Piccolos are, look for a ribbon around our hats, hair, or bags. Every year, each member of our section receives this ribbon, which has black and white stripes down the middle and is bordered by Carolina blue. We wear it with pride, and it helps us unite as a section.
One of our favorite memories is when the band plays Cheer 3. The piccolos have a special dance which has spread throughout the band. We nod our heads, grab the air, and pump our fists. No one can remember when the piccolos invented this sequence, but it's been passed down through our section for years, and it holds a fun and special place in our hearts.
While each part of band has been great, we want to share some of our favorite memories. In the fall of 2019, we opened the season with a game against the University of South Carolina at Charlotte's Bank of America Stadium. We won, and it really felt like Mac was back. At the end of the 2019 season, we were able to travel to Annapolis, Maryland to play against Temple University for the Military Bowl. We ice skated, spent time in Washington, D.C., and ended the season with a big win. Another favorite memory is just dancing during cadence. We all like to cheer the chants, dance the moves, and spread Carolina spirit.
Well, it was a great look at our piccolo section here for this year. And the piccolos are known for making a lot of noise, but so is our next guest, our alum of the week, and a good friend of mine from my days back in the Marching Tars. In fact, he was my section leader in the trumpet section, James Lane, who has had really an incredible career in education since being a member of the Marching Tar Heels.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch James progress through his career, and James has always been such a bright young man. Even almost to his detriment as a young man. He was so bright and so smart, and but he's also been a lot of fun to watch. And I still remember him. I was involved with the music ed curriculum. He was in school, and his goal at that time was to go to New York City and start a jazz program for underserved children. And while that didn't work out, he started teaching at Rogers Her Middle School in Durham, which was largely an underserved community. And it was so fun watching him because he very quickly did away with all of the traditional beginning band things. And he had those kids playing hip hop heads and music that they related to, rather than music that was in beginning band books from the 1950s and 60s. Those kids didn't learn to play hot cross buns. They learned to play hip hop tunes and other things like that. So he always found a way to reach the students on their level and where they were and bring them up. And it's been great fun watching his career take off. And now he's, it'll be interesting to see where he goes from here.
Yeah. James is really running education for the state of Virginia. You're going to see it with his background here today, as well, as he is the head there at the state level. And it's just another of those story too, as to somebody that was able to meet somebody while they were in the Marching Tar Heels. James met his wife, Sarah, who was a music major at Carolina and played with me in the Marching Tar Heels and the jazz band at Carolina for 4 years. And they met there, of course, during band camp of my freshman year. And, it's something that we're seeing with so many of these conversations, that marching band and the experience you have with the Marching Tar Heels is much more than just a 4-year experience.
Oh yeah, I was standing next to James when Sarah walked in the room for band camp that first day, because as a section leader we had him there. And when Sarah walked in the room, James, in so many words, identified that she would be his wife. Sure enough, that they started dating right away and have been married quite a few years, have 2 great kids, and Sarah's a success in her own right. But yeah, you're right, Adam, and that whole group, that group has a very special place in my heart, because that was the group that were the leaders when I first took over the band, and they bought in and made a lot of things possible. And in a lot of ways, I think of James as the ringleader of that bunch. He kept me informed of what was going on, and some tweaks we needed to make. And but yeah, you're right. And that group to this day, just not too long ago, the last of that bunch, and Tony Penta, got married probably 18 months ago or so. And that group all got back together for that wedding, and it's like they were in college all over again. They've gotten older, but I'm not sure they've grown up.
And I'm happy to be a part of that group, no doubt. And the picture that we took, Jeff, of all of us with together with our wives and kids, that was really, really, really something special. So let's catch up now with James Lane, who has got a lot to talk about as far as the leadership and how the Marching Tar Heels helped him get to where he is today.
Hello, I'm James Lane. I was in the marching band from 1995 to 1999 when I graduated from Carolina. And now I am the superintendent of public instruction here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I started teaching band while I was playing music on the road on the weekends in a variety of bands. And immediately from the time I got into the classroom, I loved teaching kids. And it quickly, for me, became about impact. It started on how can I have an impact on my students to maximize the potential in their lives. Then it became about how can I make sure that every classroom has the impact that I think that my classroom is having. And then I became a principal. And then it was about how can every school have the impact that I thought my school was having. I became a superintendent. And then it was, how can every school division have the impact that I thought my school divisions were having? And that led me to a career at the state, leading all of the schools here in Virginia. But it all goes back to that moment as a band director. I just wanted to know that every child in my classroom felt like they were valued, and the band directors that we had at Carolina did that. And that's what the people that did that for me, I feel like every day I'm giving back because of what I learned in my band experience. Please stick with this band program. You've got no better advocate in your life than Jeff Fuchs. I can tell you, even today, 20 some odd years later, I still call Mr. Fuchs from time to time for advice. And when I was named the superintendent of public instruction, I made a commitment to call some of the greatest teachers that I've ever had in my life. And Mr. Fuchs was one of those phone calls. And I called him to thank him for where he's placed me in my career. And the skills that you learn in band aren't just about playing music. It's not just about marching drill. It's about learning more about yourself, your resilience, what you can learn from other students, the professionalism that I learned in the marching band, the teamwork that I learned, the collaboration that I learned. It translated into everything else that I've been able to do. And now I lead an organization that's nearly 100,000 teachers and 1.3 million students. And we have an $8 billion budget. And I don't think I'd be able to do the things that I can do today if I hadn't learned the skills necessary for leadership in the Marching Tar Heels. And so I will always be a Tar Heel, and I'll always be thankful. We lost an early round game to Weber State. And a guy, I'm not even sure he's ever been talked about again, but Harold Arsenault just went crazy on us. I remember we pulled everybody together, and I had the opportunity to talk to the seniors, and I talked to them about the work that we did as a band and how it helped to build a reputation for the university that would be lasting, and we began to heal in that moment. And I thought about that moment in time a lot as I've thought about your band year this year, because it probably feels like an abrupt ending to your band experience at Carolina, especially those of you that are fourth year or graduating students. And I just think it's really important to reflect on what you've done for the university and how impactful you've been, and realize that you haven't just impacted those in the band, but you've impacted everyone that comes to the games, everyone that's associated with the program. And even me as an alum of many, many years, every time I hear the band on TV, it immediately brings me back to how special my time at Carolina was. And so I don't know that I have a great story that I want to tell, or at least not some of those that I think Adam probably wants me to, but what I do know is that what you've done is special, and create your own memories through this time, and remember that your band experience is something that you'll be able to hold on to forever.
Well, great to catch up with an old friend, James Lane, right there. And just such a great friend and part of the Marching Tar Heels. You know, when James and I were in the band, though, Jeff, we didn't do what we're about to watch. And I'm kind of jealous. I mean, almost everything that I see, a lot of the things we've talked about here over our first 6 shows, the cadence, the pregame that we watched from 1995 yesterday. Most of these things that we've discussed were things that I was able to do in the band that have held on to today. But boy, oh boy, I'll never forget seeing the band do this Carolina script. Maybe it started about 10 years ago or so. And it's such a cool look on the field at Kenan Stadium.
Yeah, this was a brainchild of Matt McClure when he was my colleague. We were coming back from one of the summer athletic band symposiums, and we were talking about the Ohio State script, Ohio, which is a
Right.
world. And it's like, we can do that too if we wanted to. And it's like, well, and it was one of those years where I think we only had a 2-week turnaround after school started to get the first game on the field, first show on the field. So we took it on, and Matt wrote it out and figured it all out. And it was since it uses all the fight songs it was a little bit easier to put together because the drum parts were known and the music was known. You didn't have to learn something new. And it's basically, as long as you got 5 or 6 people who know where they have to go, everybody else just has to follow the leader. But it looks really cool. And so we've done it probably 3 or 4 times since then. We try to pull it out about every 3 years because people will forget it. And then even the last time we did it, we did a mirrored Carolina spell where we scripted it to both the south side and the north side simultaneously. And that by far was the most nerve-wracking because it had to stay together from both sides so they both hit. And I'm not sure we'll ever do that again. But fun, and of course it's the background you see behind us of the band from Carolina. So yeah, it's fun to do, and the kids always enjoy it, and the fans always react when it gets to the end.
So the one we're about to watch is from the first game of the year 9 years ago when Carolina played James Madison in 2011. Do you think that was the first time that you guys pulled this off?
It was either the first or second time. I don't really remember. But I would guess probably it's the second one we've ever done. I would think. Yeah, it's in fact, I know it's the second one we did. Based on where the is end up, I can tell you it's the second time we did it.
Well, you got to pull out all the stops against Duke, right? I mean, it wasn't Duke, but it was the Dukes. So.
Dukes. Right. And the thing I do remember about that day, it was really hot. Of course, all those September games are really hot because we were very concerned about somebody falling out. And of course, in a show like that, where everybody traces the exact same step, if somebody passes out, it could be a real disaster. And, on the way to the trip, so we made it to the end okay.
Well, let's take a look at it from the first game of the 2011 season against James Madison, the Script Carolina halftime show.
Led on the field by drum majors Omar Curry, Lisa Halsey, Aja Kennedy, and Brittany Mathworth. The band is under the direction of Jeffrey Fuchs and Matthew McClure. Matt Savage is the drumline instructor, Dwayne Barnes is the color guard instructor, and Pam Spell is the majorette instructor. With the beginning of each new semester comes time to renew old friendships and make new friends. There are also reading assignments and group projects to be done and exams to be taken. Today, the Marching Tar Heels will be doing their first writing assignment of the semester while playing a medley of your favorite Carolina fight songs. Now sit back and relax as they bring Carolina to life.
Well, it looked like everybody was able to follow along well. I remember, though, back in the day, Jeff, when we went to the Gator Bowl in 2002, and we did the circus show, and we marched in a circle. I've never been more scared in the Marching Tar Heels. You marched in this show in a circle, but everybody had to do a complete wheel on the same exact moment and turn around and march the other way. And if you missed that one step, you could get hit right in the chops with the other person's horn. You always have to be so focused. So sometimes you would think that would be easier, but it's almost more nerve-wracking when you're marching in that way.
Yeah, it's anytime you're at that two-step interval, 45 inches apart, the stakes raise significantly and the risk factor goes way up. And yeah, it's the same thing. If somebody slows down, everybody's concerned about getting hit in the back of the head. What happens to the mouth of the person behind him, because that the trumpet bell going into somebody's head is nothing compared to the mouthpiece going into the teeth. And fortunately, we've always had a dentist. My wife's a dental hygienist, so we always have a good connection with a dentist to fix any teeth problems we have as a result of accidents on the field.
See, folks, marching band can be a contact sport, right? Well, Jeff, thank you so much for being with us again. I think it was another fun edition, and we're looking forward to doing it again once again next week.
Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, everybody. This has been the Pride of the ACC.